Hi everybody. Now this is going to be the third part of this series we've been doing, where we have taken a piece of cloth and then we've made two completely different things out of it. And I said I would make a third. This one is bright and vibrant. This one's delicate and dreamy. No, and this one, well, we'll wait and see on this one. So as you can see, I cut it into pieces and I'm just playing with the idea. I'm putting it on calico. We're still at the designing phase where we figure out a nice composition for us, but I quite like the idea of splitting it. So that's a start. Now what I did grab out was I just grabbed out these kind of colors. So I grabbed, there's a piece of this, because I thought, well, that worked well last time. We used a bit of see-through stuff. This is a chiffon, but you know, it's a good color. And I grabbed the same sort of thing, chiffon in this crinkly red, and a bit of satin in the same, that's luscious. I grabbed a bit of lace. I looked at the lace, I thought, oh, it's very bright against that cream. Maybe that's a good thing. But I think what I'll start to do is just cut some shapes out and we play around with it and we see where we go with it. So I'm going to cut out this from this doily. So I'm just going to cut one out, and you know, what happens if it goes over? Do we find it too much? Could it be smaller? Could be. Do we want some of this on top of it? Does that tone it down? What if we use two layers? So that kind of thing. I am going to look at that. I am going to do a really big round. Big enough, I'm hoping, to get over that. I have boxes of scraps, and I've recently gone through and made it all into different colors. That helped me. Just going to cut a small one now and see what it looks like. And this is only the beginning stage, so I don't mind if I make mistakes. But that's interesting, isn't it? Trying that with the two different layers of stuff over it. Or I might want some up there on that one. Maybe I want some of this satin that I picked out before, because it's a glorious colour. Have you ever tried to cut a difficult shape? Just turn the thing, keep your scissors in the one spot, don't try and go around it, and just move the fabric itself. That's a great hint for getting difficult shapes done. Okay, there we are. So we could do something like that. What else could we try? I've got more of this, so I'm not terribly worried. No, I was aiming for more of a circle. You're not really a circle. I'll try again. Something. Oh, that'll do me. So I'm also going to cut the center out the same. And I don't know, I just thought, you know, what happens if we did something like that? Possibly, possibly not. And I'll keep moving things around until I'm happy. Maybe half of one of these is better, you know, and maybe it's off to the edge or something. Or maybe it's in like that, creating another interesting thing. What else do we have? Got this. What is making this different from the other? That's the other thing, you know. What am I doing that's making it different? Not a lot so far, I think, but that's okay. We'll get there. I probably shouldn't do this because I've already done this in the previous one, but I loved it so much I thought, oh, just a little bit, you know, to change it. I like the idea of putting it between the two onto this blank space, and then we see what happens. I know this looks dark, but I think I could try. If I could reject this, I could say to myself, I don't like you. What does that look like if it's underneath shading that green? What happens? On the calico, what happens then? Oh, is it interesting? It's just kind of interesting, adds a bit more colour. Might want to do all of that, maybe some, and then let's have a look at this bit. And maybe I'll do something else, like a leaf shape like we've already got. I like to copy the things that we have got and just change the pattern slightly, you know, because we've got the circles and we've got the leaves. So you might notice we've actually echoed that in every one we've done so far, but this is hopefully going to have a different flavour to it and just be that little bit different. Yeah, I think something like that could work. Maybe not in that particular way, but something. So I'm only starting this so that I can go off and do something else now, but I'll be thinking about it, and I'll be thinking, oh, okay, what do I like about it? What do I want? So I'm just taking another one of these lace doilies at the moment, and I'm just going to cut that smaller one out. So we're having a good play and figuring out different things that we might like. When you do think you've got something similar to what you want, then you might do a little photo with your camera or something, just so that you remember what it was like. I found this little bit of also, this is a maroon kind of lace, so I'm just seeing if I can use it. Okay. Maybe it could have a little stem. Maybe it could be like that. Something like that. I'm not sure about this one yet. Perhaps I will cut it in half. Okay, so we have to start somewhere. So as with the others, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue stick. So here we go. So I'm going to put a stripe up there to hold that baby in place. And this one we wanted to cover it with, so that's okay. Other stripe will do it. And over it like that. And well, I'd really have to check the picture, but I think I have one here. I'm happy to do that anyway. And this one, I think it also lapped. I was looking for things that would lap over and to continue the pattern into the spare space there, the empty space. So if I put that like that, that's what it's doing. Taking us from one over into the next panel. Okay, well, I've just had to put a pin in that one, but I've done a little bit of other gluing of bits and pieces. But what I'm thinking is, well, just because I had it handy, I was looking at this in the last one. It's a very fine wool. But I thought, well, maybe I could use it to go around those leaves. Now, if you're worried about making a big knot, the easiest way is just to go underneath and do 2 stitches on top of each other. It's much flatter than doing a knot. There, done. So then we'll bring it up whilst we're there. There. So I'm thinking I'll do a well, what haven't we tried yet? A stem stitch. Okay, so it's like we're aiming up that arc. I could use a disappearing pen to do it, but this is quite good for going around curves and things where like half of it is beside the rest, and it sort of makes a thicker line. I'm not making sense, am I? Okay, so we do a stitch and then we come back halfway, right beside it. There. So like that. Makes a thick line, makes something that's more stand out. And like I said, because it does this, we can make it curve. So I'm just going to use that to sort of curve up the way I want it to go. And do that central line in there. But can you see how that's quite a nice strong mark already? And I think that'll be good. What I have here is this doily that I cut. I just wanted that, or parts of it. I've used it in a few different places, but I've got this little central flower that I'm going to use as the inside of this flower. So I was just showing you how I was going to attach it to start with. I just thought I would bring a bit of yellow in. So I've got it, I'm just using little crosses. And then I go into the next one. I'll do a little cross out of that as well. Right, so we did some yellow crosses around there. That was nice. I've still got some yellow on. I've got some lemon. So in the other two that we did in this same fabric, each time we did something different. So in this one, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to do some chain stitch to hold that down. So, not the prettiest chain. All right, I'll concentrate. A bit better. All right, so how do you do a chain? You hold that thread out the way. You go in very close to where the thread comes out from underneath. Do a small stitch, and then as you pull it up, it pulls that thread around it like that, and you get a lovely little chain. These can be detached. I do have a nice video on chain stitch, or you can do it as a chain, one after the other, and that's what I'm doing now. So these here are also going to be flowers. What I've decided to do for them is to do a blanket stitch around the outside, because it's a nice strong neat stitch. So what happens is you do a little tiny stitch like that, and this one here is held out the way so that when you go up, it creates a nice little line on the outside at the same time as it does this little stitch into the center, which holds it, and it gives it a nice edge. So you can see I'm using a blanket stitch here in this lovely tangerine burnt orange, and I'm just having different sizes. You see, small, large, medium, medium, small, and just staggering it, so it makes quite a pretty edge. Okay, let's just have a look at the moment. What I wanted to say was, see how I've done that leaf with that lovely stem stitch up the center there, just to make it a bit thicker, and I've done a running stitch around the edge to hold it down. This one I've done a blanket stitch, and I'll continue doing those different stitches. So what I wanted to show you now was we originally cut this fabric into 3, and in this section here I put that nice organza underneath between the 2. So I have a green stripe in essence, and the other one's just a beige stripe. But what I wanted to do was on this particular work focus a little bit more on the stripes. So I've done some running stitch to start with, up. So these stripes follow up the edge of the material and then over into the blank space, or in this case where the green is, and we're just going to do a series of stripes. So right now I've decided to add in some yellow, and I'm couching it on. It's just wool. Now it may seem like I'm going a little bit of everywhere at the same time, but I'm thinking my design through. I'm making it up as I go, and some things appeal to me and some don't. Like I used to have a orange blanket stitch around that, but it really got confused and didn't look very neat, and that's why I decided I liked this better. I could have those two butting up against each other nicely. It made a nice colourful edge around it. You know, lots of things appeal to me like that. And with these stripes, you know, the whole thing that I've been thinking all along is with these flowers here, I wanted to do something that would be stripes. So I'm going to have something, you know, I could use wool, I could use a ribbon I could couch down, I could do a lot of things. But I'm just saying I want something that's like stems that come up to these things, these flowers. So I'm just doing a little bit more of this couching of wool. This time I've used a nice beetroot colour and a gold to go around the centre there. So I'm just looking at, let's have a look again at the picture here. There we go. And I'm not going to do much with these. I'm just going to tack them down with a little bit of creamy coloured cotton the same. I do still have to do these lines here, like I did over here, with something, suggesting those vertical lines. And I have to go around this leaf. And I'm going to then look at my stems. What could I do for stems? Like this one here is the biggest flower, so I'd prefer it had the largest stem. Now I could use a piece of fabric. Just seeing though I've gotten all this wool out, whether I could just do 3 layers or like that or something. That doesn't particularly stand out, so that doesn't do it for me, but something like that I think. So yeah, a larger stem there, one, you know, something. So let's have a look. Now, like I say, they build themselves, these pictures, and sometimes they build them nicely, and sometimes they build them more difficultly, and sometimes I have to really think about it. I try to bring in outlandish things and see if I can make it work, and it's all about balance, whether I can make it work. Perhaps because it's so heavily weighted towards the top, it doesn't really need much in the foreground. I've done a few more stripes going up on either side of that material, and I've done all of the stems in different colours. I've added that touch of yellow in, and the white of the lovely crochet doily flowers, and it's looking quite nice. So I think I'm on finishing touches right now. So for the final touches, to decide how I want to finish this, I am just going to pop this on again. What I was thinking was that I might need something in that corner, and for that I was thinking I can bring in this little bit of lace. See how we've got like a frame around the picture. Just the last little thing would be maybe some buttons. I was looking at What do we have here? Yellow or white or pearly, sorry. There's a white one out there. What's that like? Now I just wanted to show you a little problem I came up with. Can you see how this here has been accidentally snipped or something, and it's put a little cut in it? But rather than worry too much about that, I decided what I would do was just couch another over it and at the same time stitch it down. So that's just another little just showing you warts and all. I'm just going to do what I did on this one. So a little cross in that aqua colour, I think, just to add that little bit more of this aqua colour into the back into the design, and that'll be me done. I'm trying not to go too high because I want this to be totally within the frame. So yeah, you just do a little stitch, and then if you can find the hole, you do the cross on top and then repeat. And using that contrasting colour is quite good. It adds that other little pop, you know. So happy there. Okay, that's the new one. That's the last one that we did. And let's do this like that. There. So I hope that's given you some few ideas of what you can do with a single piece of material with a bit of a pattern on it, and you know, just let your imagination take flight from there. Try a few different techniques. They all did something different, you know. This one's vibrant. I really do. I did like that with the paint that we did with the ink tints and the simple embroidery. That was really pretty. And this one was dreamy. And so we went with it with that one, and we did this, you know, what was it? It was like wind and scents, and just taking that ethereal kind of quality and making it flow. So I liked that as well. It was very different. See how we used the French knots there in the center, and that ruffled edge, because it was going to fray anyway. We just let it and made that part of the design. And that brings us to our last one. So why is it different? We cut it into thirds, and we split it apart, and we added a little chiffon in the background to sort of make these stripes stand out a little bit. And then we continued the stripy thing with the stems there. And yeah, we used some different stitches. We brought in some nice old doilies that we cut up, and I think it's, you know, it's a garden, isn't it? It's looking through from the bottom through the garden. So, you know, I really do think that this is a great experiment and gives you something to work at. Very transportable, like I say. You know, pack your tiny bit of material in your bag with a few threads, a needle and some snips, and you know, take your mindful stitching on the way with you. It really is very much a creative craft, and I hope you have a go. So thank you for watching, and if you've liked what you've seen, do press like and subscribe if you would like to see more. My contact details are below, and check out my other videos. Thank you.